The world is not always exactly what it seems. Things that are popular, touted, or just seem awesome or at least incredible may actually be, simply put, quite bad. Bad for you, bad for your mental health, bad for your physical safety, or just, well, pretty terrible for the planet. In this video, we profile 10 things that you might think are awesome, or at least are very cool, but actually bring about some real trouble. Number 10. Wind turbines. Wind power. I mean, what could be greener? It's a better means of environmentally friendly energy compared to coal power, for example, and a means of engineering that is nature-friendly in provision of power to civilization. Or maybe not, at least not as far as birds are concerned. Wind turbines are widely touted as green energy advancements, but the gigantic structures are creating problems, causing the death of countless birds ranging from waterfowl and songbirds to eagles, hawks, and falcons. The enormous metal blades are no Dutch windmills, and if located in migration paths, the results can be especially disastrous. Furthermore, the best place to put the structures with regards to good strong winds may also be bird migration hotspots. A problem indeed, since the green movement sincerely intends to protect wildlife. While debate continues on just how bad wind turbines are for bird populations overall, questions over how to construct turbines and where to site them to minimize impact continues to grow as a hot topic that sometimes pits ornithologists, conservationists, and wind power engineers against each other. Number 9. Space exploration. Exploring space is an incredible feat of humanity. Travel by humans to the moon or just into Earth orbit seems pretty incredible, but despite the advancement, space travel has brought a host of messy problems that are literally a load of junk. You know that neighbor with so much rubbish in their yard that their property looks like a dilapidated second-hand store that went out of business combined with a landfill? Well, the bad news is that thanks to the penchant for space travel possessed by our species, that messy yard describes Earth. The debris field includes 500,000 big chunks of space junk that are being tracked. The space junk is not only unsightly and unnatural, but it poses a variety of threats. First of all, space travel is threatened by the junk that it creates, with collision damage a growing concern facing any craft approaching, orbiting, or leaving the vicinity of our world. Furthermore, space junk falling to Earth may put aircraft or even people or infrastructure on the ground at risk when the pieces of refuse are large enough to make it through the atmosphere. In 1969, 5 Japanese sailors were hit by space waste, while an Oklahoma resident, Lottie Williams, suffered shoulder injuries from a piece of metal measuring around 4 by 5 inches that came from a Delta II rocket fuel tank. Over the past 50 years, NASA has documented a piece of debris per day falling to Earth. Number 8. Becoming a celebrity. Being famous is the dream of many people, right? Well, actually, you might want to start feeling sorry for the famous, or at least some of them, and thanking your lucky stars you're not famous yet. In an expanding global culture of celebrity obsession, some of the greatest problems with being a celebrity have overwhelmingly been swept aside. But celebrities are speaking out, and what they have to say is a bit chilling. Johnny Depp described fame as living like a fugitive in one interview, stating the need to use strategies even to move about, whether out of a hotel or a restaurant or elsewhere. Lady Gaga put being famous in clear words, likening it to being owned by the public rather than being free. Daniel Craig of James Bond stardom commented on the hassle of being constantly photographed, while Daniel Radcliffe described the danger of succumbing to alcohol use as a means to handle being watched. Dating as a celebrity was scorned as a huge challenge by Jennifer Lawrence of Hunger Games fame, while George Clooney had some more words to describe the problems. He described fame as the inability to enjoy simple pleasures, citing a lack of being able to simply walk about in Central Park. Number 7. Dolphin and orca training. Many people dream of working with marine mammals, especially dolphins and orcas, so-called killer whales, which are in fact large dolphins and not whales at all. But just swimming with dolphins presents a risk of interactions going sideways, while training them in captivity presents risks, especially so with orcas. First of all, many people have raised ethical concerns over the keeping of these creatures in captivity, but a number of accidents and injuries involving captive dolphins and either trainers or audience members serves as an important lesson that these animals can inflict real damage. In the case of human interaction with captive orcas, 30 cases of injury or death have occurred from the 1970s onward. Trainers have been drowned, struck, bitten, and held by apparently angry or disturbed orcas, with deaths caused most famously at SeaWorld when trainers were violently attacked. Most of the deaths involve a trainer dying after being seized by a whale, while one trespasser, Daniel Dukes, was found dead at SeaWorld in an orca tank in 1991, though it could not be proven that his death was from an orca. That same orca, Tilikum, with which he was found dead, had killed a trainer previously and went on to fatally attack trainer Dawn Brenshaw in 2010. Number 6. Hippopotamuses. First of all, we aren't always sure how to pluralize the name of this creature. Is it hippopotamuses or hippopotami? Turns out both are acceptable. But these creatures are not the friendly and happy animals which they are portrayed to be in cartoons, etc. Actually, hippos are one of the most destructive large animals to affect human society. They disrupt entire communities and actually kill humans who are foolish enough to attempt an interaction with them. Hippos are heavy. Males sometimes exceed 9,000 pounds, but they're also fast, reaching speeds of up to 18 miles an hour. And while they are not horses at all, but relatives of whales, dolphins, and pigs, they are surprisingly agile and have a very bad temper if disturbed. Hippos have enormous canine tusks that put lions to shame and may use them without warning. The giant beasts are primarily plant eaters, but territorial aggression and other human conflict leads to around 3,000 deaths annually in their natural habitat in Africa, as noted by the African Wildlife Foundation. Thanks to a notorious drug lord with a penchant for exotic animals, Colombia now has over 40 hippos on the loose, descendants of the 4 that got loose. Number 5. Electric cars. Electric cars might once have seemed fantastical or impractical, but the fuel-free vehicle is no pie-in-the-sky idea today. The electric car is here to stay, but neither fully electric or hybrid vehicles are the dream come true for the environment that the general public imagines. Batteries that power electric vehicles must come from somewhere and do not last forever. Making batteries entirely without environmental impact seems very far away. Electric car battery manufacturing depends on some scarce elements, while the global demand for cars far exceeds the Earth's capacity to yield the required materials in sufficient quantities to meet the needs of the auto market with electric vehicles. Other problems include increased emissions of fine particles from tire wear due to the heavy build of vehicles. In one startling example, sensitive ecosystems that function as oases in Chile's Atacama Desert have been besieged by electric vehicle-driven mining activity. Number 4. Supernovas. We fear Earth-based natural disasters while admiring the night sky with awe, but perhaps insufficient concern. The stars hold a danger for Earth, and that danger is the supernova. Earth is unlikely to be in doomsday danger as things stand with regard to supernovas in the making, but research suggests especially strong supernova events could spill large amounts of blue light in the Earth's direction. Bright enough to be visible in the day along with the sun, such a dying star could induce problematic levels of biological disruption of the Earth's biosphere. Endocrine disruption and sleep problems are among the possible effects of what would be a beautiful, natural, but undeniably harmful event. Theoretical scenarios of a large supernova event taking place close to the Earth lean toward the more suddenly disastrous, while obvious supernova incidents present a more remote risk to the Earth. Possible scenarios that are far more chilling include the chance that a merger supernova involving dead stars not visible to astronomers, and thus unknown, colliding and setting off a catastrophic event, blasting the Earth with radiation. All in all, we can simply hope we don't experience a supernova in our lifetimes, as dying stars are up to no good as far as Earth is concerned. Number 3. Wide Area Motion Imagery. A security system on steroids, Wide Area Motion Imagery, or WAMI, seems like a panacea for crime prevention. Equipped to collect stage-by-stage footage of entire cities, the technology allows any object of interest or person to be located and then tracked forward or backward through recorded time as their actions progress. Where they went, what they did, when, and why are all offered up by a good WAMI system. A single unit can watch a city and then yield forensic data showing relationships between humans, vehicles, and locations. Almost anything could be found out about anyone, any time. Yet the potential for abuse is simply enormous. If a government or corporation decided to use the information unethically, the damage to privacy, safety, and personal security could be untold. Literally no movement, interaction, or action that was not desired would escape scrutiny, making WAMI perhaps the ultimate police-state weapon against civilians. Number 2. Purebred Pets. Okay, so you've paid the high price to the breeder or the pet store and you've got the papers signed and stamped, but the costs, they've just begun. Purebred pets are certainly overrated, and once you've paid the high price to acquire your pet, there is more than a small chance that nasty breed-specific illnesses and defects may crop up, further emptying your bank account. Why? Because purebred pets face a double problem that mixed-breed pets may be less likely to bear. First off, purebred pets suffer from increased inbreeding and a generally smaller gene pool. This is a problem on a genetic level. Secondly, the risk of ailments is dramatically increased in many animal breeds due to the presence of grossly exaggerated physical traits that are not seen in so-called mongrels that might be a lot closer to what nature selected an animal to look like and function as for better adaptation to the real world compared to someone's special use plans or imagination of what constitutes animal beauty. If you need an example, just look at the beyond bizarre bubble-eye goldfish prone to eye problems and dropsy, or perhaps the respiratory problems faced by the English bulldog. Behavioral problems are a nasty situation as well, with certain breeds being prone to outbreaks of difficult behavior. Number 1. Jogging and epic workouts. Physical exercise is good for you. If being a couch potato is bad for your health and may lead to everything from heart problems to diabetes, then working out as much as possible must be the panacea for lifestyle-related health issues. Right? Well, not really. Just because it is the opposite of a sedentary lifestyle, being too much of a fitness nut might not help one's health goals and may actually be harmful. Research published in the British health journal Heart stated that those who engage in excessive workouts are actually at greater risk of death compared to those who do not exercise very much. The writers assembled research that included a study from Germany that found runners who participated in marathons on a regular basis actually suffered higher coronary plaque accumulation levels in comparison to the couch potatoes included in the study. The plaques created a higher risk of heart disease. Excessive exercise causes the body to become clogged with oxidative byproducts of exercise, including free radicals that react with cholesterol as fat and sugar is burned too aggressively in over-exercisers. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below. Do not forget to subscribe. Brand new videos just like this every day of the week. When you're subscribing, hit that bell icon so you find out when we put out a new video. Also, why not check out my new channel called Geographics? You can find that link to below. Bit of a channel about geography. I think if you like this video, you'll like that as well. And as always, thank you for watching.